The horizon star drifted quietly above the strange blue planet, its engines cold and broken after the crash. Inside the wreck, a single human, Ethan Cole, lay still on a metal table. The air was thick with smoke, soft light, and the faint hum of alien machines. When Ethan slowly opened his eyes, the world around him looked unreal. The walls were smooth and glowing with a silver-blue light. Strange symbols floated across them like living energy. He didn't remember how he got here, only that his ship had gone down in a storm of lightning and fire. He blinked, trying to focus. That's when he saw them. Two alien women stood beside the table, their shapes tall and elegant, their eyes bright like small stars. Their skin shone softly, almost like moonlight. One had long white hair flowing over her shoulders, while the other had dark silver hair tied behind her head. They spoke in a soft musical language that Ethan didn't understand. He froze. His heart pounded. Instinct told him not to move, mine not yet. He kept his eyes half closed and slowed his breathing, pretending to still be unconscious. He had been in alien contact missions before, but this felt different. These two, they didn't act like rescuers. Their voices carried worry and secrecy. "He is human," said the white-haired one. "So fragile. Yet his life energy? It's stronger than we expected." "If he wakes now," the other replied, "the bond will start too early. We must finish before sunrise." Ethan's pulse jumped. Bond? What bond? What were they planning? He tried to keep calm. Through his eyelashes, he could see them moving around the room, touching glowing panels that changed color under their hands. The air shimmered faintly around them. Energy moved like liquid light between their palms. One of them came closer, so close he could feel the warmth of her presence. She studied him for a moment, then whispered something softly, right near his ear. The words were in their language, but the tone made his chest tighten. It was both gentle and sad. Then a strange feeling spread through his body, warm, electric, alive. His wounds began to close. The pain in his ribs faded. His skin tingled. He realized they were healing him using pure energy. But as they did, he felt something else. A spark under his skin, like a small sun waking up inside him. He wanted to move, to ask them what was happening, but he forced himself to stay still. The sisters stepped back, watching the marks appear on his arm, small glowing lines like veins made of light. They didn't seem to notice them at first. Then the silver-haired one frowned. "It's reacting too fast," she said quietly. "It's fine," the other replied.
"He won't wake yet."
The human body adapts slowly. They turned away, speaking faster, almost arguing now. Their voices rose and fell in tones of fear and guilt. Ethan caught only fragments of their conversation. Something about energy merging, the core and survival of their kind. He wanted to scream. What did they mean, survival? Were they using him? The room dimmed slightly as one of them touched a control panel. A translucent dome closed around his bed, trapping warm air inside. Then the sisters left through a doorway that melted open and sealed behind them with a faint hiss. For a long moment, only silence remained. Ethan stayed still, counting the beats of his heart. Then, slowly, he opened his eyes. The alien chamber was silent now, only the hum of machines in the background. He looked down at his arm. The glowing marks were still there, pulsing faintly like breathing light. He touched them and his fingers felt warmth, real warmth, as if something alive was inside him. He sat up, his mind racing. They thought he was asleep. They thought he didn't know. But he had heard enough. They need me for something big and dangerous. He stood carefully, testing his legs. His strength had returned faster than it should have. Every breath felt light, powerful, almost superhuman. On a small crystal table beside the bed, he noticed a piece of alien technology, a smooth disc with lights swirling inside. It seemed to be scanning him, recording his vitals. When he reached toward it, the lights changed to red and a faint alarm sound echoed. Ethan froze. He heard soft footsteps outside the chamber. He quickly lay back down, pretending to sleep again. The door hissed open. The white-haired sister entered alone this time, holding a small container of glowing liquid. She walked to his side and looked at his face closely. "Still sleeping?" she whispered. Then she smiled faintly. "You don't know yet what's coming, human. I wish you never had to." Her voice trembled slightly, and as if she felt sorry for him. She placed her hand gently on his chest. The light on his arm pulsed brighter, reacting to her touch. She stared at it, surprised, then quickly pulled her hand back. The connection has started, she whispered, eyes wide. It's too soon. Ethan heard every word. He kept his breathing steady, his eyes closed. When she finally left, he opened his eyes again. The mark on his arm was glowing stronger now, moving slowly toward his heart like living energy. He swallowed hard. What did they just do to me? He whispered to himself. Outside, lightning flashed across the alien sky. The hum of the machines grew louder, as if something inside the structure had awakened, and Ethan Cole realized one thing. The real danger hadn't even begun yet. When the morning light touched the alien sky, Ethan was already awake, but pretending to still rest. The mark on his arm still glowed softly, hidden under his torn sleeve. Every few seconds it pulsed like a heartbeat that didn't belong to him. He had spent the whole night listening to the strange sounds of the alien structure, machines humming, soft footsteps echoing through metallic halls, and sometimes quiet voices whispering from behind the walls. Something was happening here, something that involved him. He waited until the noises faded, then slowly sat up. The air smelled like metal and ozone. He scanned the room carefully. On one side he noticed a panel, a transparent screen filled with alien symbols. When he touched it, the surface responded, glowing brighter. A hologram appeared. It showed his body surrounded by strange energy patterns. A voice echoed softly from the hologram. It wasn't human, but now the words sounded half understandable, as if his mind was starting to translate them. Subject 01, human male. Adaptation speed unusually high. Core connection in progress. Estimated full length 72 cycles. Ethan's stomach tightened. They're tracking me like an experiment. He looked toward the door. It was half open now, no guards, no alarms. The sisters probably thought he was still asleep. He had a chance to explore and find out the truth, the forbidden chamber. The hallway outside was silent and endless. The floor was glass-like, showing moving streams of light beneath his feet. Strange alien symbols pulsed along the walls. Every few meters, doors slid open and closed by themselves, whispering like they were alive. He followed the faint sound of voices, the sisters again. Their speech echoed through the corridor. Ethan moved closer and stopped at the edge of a glowing archway. He peeked inside. The alien sisters stood before a large crystal tank filled with shining blue liquid. Inside the tank floated something that looked almost human. Pale skin, silver hair, motionless. She's fading, said the silver-haired sister, worry in her tone. Then we have no choice, replied the other. The human's energy can save her. His life force is compatible. Ethan's heart stopped for a second. They want to use me, to save one of their own. But the bonding might kill him, said the silver-haired one. If we don't try, she dies. Our species ends here. The words hit Ethan like a punch. Their species ends here? That meant these two weren't just sisters, and they were the last of their kind. He felt torn. Part of him understood their desperation, but the other part whispered a single thought. They're going to drain me alive. He backed away quietly, but his foot brushed against a small, glowing crystal on the floor. It rolled and hit the wall with a soft chime. Both sisters turned instantly. Who's there? Ethan froze. The white-haired sister moved her hand, and a wave of light flew toward the door. It slammed shut with a loud hiss. The whole room lit up blue. Ethan tried to run, but the floor shifted beneath him. Gravity twisted, and he fell hard, landing near the crystal tank. The silver-haired sister stepped closer, her expression calm but firm. You were awake, she said softly. You heard us. Ethan got up, breathing fast. What are you doing to me? What's this, Mark? He demanded. For a moment, both sisters looked at each other. Then the white-haired one spoke. You are the first human to survive the core link. Your energy connects to ours naturally. You're not in danger. Not if you trust us, Ethan shook his head. You're lying. You're using me. The white-haired one stepped forward, her eyes glowing faintly. You think we want this? You think we enjoy binding our life to a stranger? We are dying, Ethan. Every sun cycle our planet consumes itself. You're our only chance. Her voice cracked slightly. It didn't sound like a threat, it sounded like pain. Ethan hesitated. He could see it now. The exhaustion in their faces, the fear behind their calm words. They weren't monsters. They were survivors. Still, he couldn't just let them control him. If this bond continues, he said, what happens to me? The silver-haired sister looked down. You become one of us, she whispered. But your human body won't survive long after. Ethan's mind spun. Part of him wanted to help. Part of him screamed to escape. The awakening. Pulse suddenly, the crystal tank behind him flared bright white. The figure inside, the third sister, and opened her eyes. A powerful wave of energy burst through the chamber, throwing Ethan backward. The mark on his arm burned hot. The sisters shouted in their language, trying to control the surge, but the power spiraled out of control. The tank shattered. Blue light filled the air. Ethan shielded his eyes as a voice echoed in his head, a soft female voice, calm and curious. "Human, may you carry my life within you." He looked up. The third sister stood there, her body glowing brighter than the others. She stared straight at him, and when their eyes met, his mark stopped burning. It turned golden. The two other sisters gasped in disbelief. It chose him. The link chose the human. Ethan stood frozen, breathing hard. What does that mean? The third sister smiled faintly. "It means, Ethan Cole, your life and ours are now one." The room went silent. Only the pulse of energy connected them all, glowing between his chest and hers. Ethan didn't know if he should be terrified or amazed. The chamber was silent. Too silent. Only the faint golden light connected Ethan Cole to the glowing figure of the third sister, standing before him. Her silver hair flowed like liquid light, and her eyes, in deep blue with a hint of gold, seemed to look straight into his soul. Ethan felt the pulse between them. Not pain, but something alive, something warm. His heartbeat matched hers. Every breath she took, his chest moved slightly too. He didn't understand it, but his instincts whispered one thing. They were linked now. The two other sisters watched with wide eyes, their faces caught between shock and fear. "It's impossible," whispered the silver-haired sister. "The core chose him. Over one of us?" "No," the white-haired one replied softly. "It didn't choose him. It recognized him." Ethan blinked. "Recognize me? What are you talking about?" The third sister turned to him slowly. Her voice was calm, almost gentle. "You are not the first human to come here, Ethan Cole. You carry the memory of one who helped our kind long ago. The one who gave us hope." Her words struck him like thunder. "You mean, humans have been here before?" She nodded. "Centuries ago. Before your people learned the stars. A human crashed here like you did. He saved our world, but at a cost." Ethan tried to process her words, but the mark on his arm flared again, glowing brighter than before. He felt dizzy, like his blood was turning into light. "What's happening to me?" he asked, his voice trembling. The third sister placed a hand on his chest. Her touch was cool but comforting. "The link is stabilizing. Our energies are syncing. You will feel it, but you must not resist." Her eyes glowed as energy flowed from her hand into his body. Ethan gasped, feeling warmth spread through him again, but this time it was mixed with her memories. Suddenly, flashes appeared in his mind. A burning sky. Alien towers collapsing. A human man standing beside two alien sisters reaching toward a glowing core. His hand merging with theirs as a massive storm of energy surrounded them. Ethan fell to his knees. The vision faded, leaving only silence. He stared at her, breathing hard. That man. Who was he? The third sister looked away. "Your ancestor," she said quietly. "The first human who carried the link. His name was Aiden Cole." Ethan's eyes widened. That name, as it was from his family's old stories. His great-grandfather had vanished during a secret mission in deep space. "That's impossible," he whispered. "He disappeared 200 years ago." The sister smiled faintly. "Time flows differently here. He never left. The memory of the past." The other sisters stepped closer now, their suspicion fading into curiosity. "If he carries the memory," said the silver-haired one, "then maybe he can complete what our ancestors began." Ethan stood shakily. "Complete what?" The white-haired sister waved her hand, and the floor around them shifted. The walls melted away to reveal a massive chamber filled with floating crystals, each one pulsing like a heartbeat. At the center was a large sphere of energy, glowing bright gold and white. It looked alive, breathing softly. "This," said the third sister, "is our world core. It powers everything, the cities, the oceans, even our own bodies. But it's dying. Without a living link, our planet will fade." Ethan stared at it. The energy seemed to call to him, like it knew his name. He felt the mark on his arm burn again, matching its rhythm. "You want me to connect with it?" he asked. The third sister nodded. "You already have. The core has chosen you through me, but the process isn't complete. If we finish it, we all live, but your human form might not survive the merge." Ethan took a deep breath. The thought of dying terrified him, but watching the desperation in their eyes, the fear of extinction, tore at his heart. Still, part of him wondered, why me? Why would this alien energy care about one human engineer? He stepped closer to the glowing sphere. The air vibrated softly, whispering like 1,000 voices calling out from another time. "Aiden Cole," it said faintly. "Return what was promised." Ethan froze. "It knows my name." The third sister looked at him. "Because it remembers your bloodline. Your ancestor gave part of his soul to the core. That part lives in you." Before Ethan could respond, the sphere pulsed brighter. The ground shook and lightning-like energy arced around the room. The other sister screamed. The core was waking too fast. The third sister grabbed Ethan's hand. "Don't move. It's calling you, and if you resist, it will destroy us all." Ethan's body lifted off the floor as golden light surrounded him. His feet left the ground and his mind filled with strange visions. The alien world rebuilding itself, oceans glowing again, skies clearing. He saw their people alive once more, but behind that beauty, he also saw something else. Himself fading, his body turning to light. The third sister held his face in her hands. Her eyes were soft now, almost human. "You can stop at any time," she whispered. "Just say no and the link will break." Ethan looked at her, his heart pounding. "If I stop it, your world dies?" She nodded silently. He looked down at the mark on his arm. It was now golden and spreading toward his heart. He smiled faintly despite the fear. "Then I guess I don't have a choice, do I?" The energy surged again, blinding light filling the chamber. The sisters shielded their eyes as Ethan's voice echoed through the room. "For my family, and for yours." Then silence. The core dimmed. The light faded. Ethan's body floated motionless in the air. The sisters looked up in horror. The third one whispered, "The link is complete, but at what cost?" For a long time there was only silence. Then, slowly, the golden light faded from the chamber and the core's heartbeat grew quiet again. The air shimmered with leftover energy, soft and warm, like the calm after a storm. The three alien sisters opened their eyes carefully. The world around them was glowing softly, alive again. The walls no longer flickered. The machines hummed in harmony, but Ethan Cole was gone, or so they thought. Floating near the center of the room above the core was a figure, surrounded by soft, golden mist. His body was human but changed. His veins glowed faintly, his eyes reflected light like crystal. The mark on his arm had spread across his chest, forming a glowing network that pulsed gently. The third sister, the one who had bonded with him, stepped closer, her voice shaking. "Ethan?" His eyes opened. The golden light inside them flickered like a dying star. He looked around slowly, as if the world felt different now. "I can hear everything," he whispered. "The walls, the air, the core, it's all alive." The sisters exchanged stunned looks. The core bond had changed him more than they expected. He wasn't just connected to it, he was part of it now. The white-haired sister spoke first. The merge succeeded. The core breathes again. The silver-haired one added quietly, "But he's not the same human anymore." Ethan lowered himself to the ground. His feet touched the floor and the lights around the room flickered, reacting to his presence. Wherever he stepped, the metal brightened like it was welcoming him. He looked at his hands. They glowed faintly from within, golden lines moving like rivers under his skin. "What am I now?" he asked softly. The third sister walked closer, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You are the bridge between two worlds," she said. "Part human, part core, you saved us." Her voice trembled, not from fear but emotion. Ethan gave a faint smile. "If I saved you, why do I feel like something's missing?" She looked down. "Because you left a part of yourself inside the core. It holds your energy now. If you leave this planet, you might not survive long." He stared at her, his heart heavy. "So I'm trapped here." "Not trapped," she whispered. "Chosen." The planet awakens outside the chamber. The world began to change. Dark skies cleared as the energy spread from the core to the atmosphere. Rivers of light flowed through the land, bringing warmth to dead forests and frozen lakes. Strange plants came back to life, glowing softly under the twin suns. The alien city, once silent and broken, began to hum again. Machines lifted into the air. Lights flickered on in towers that hadn't seen power for years. The sisters stepped outside with Ethan, watching their home reborn before their eyes. Ethan looked around, amazed. "It's beautiful." The white-haired sister smiled for the first time in centuries. "You've given us hope again." But hope came with a shadow. As Ethan watched the world heal, he noticed the ground pulsing with energy, like a heartbeat that was too strong. He frowned. "The core feels unstable." The third sister turned toward him. Quickly. "Unstable? How?" He closed his eyes. "It's talking to me. The core isn't calm, it's afraid." The air grew cold. The silver-haired sister looked worried. Afraid of what? Ethan opened his eyes. They glowed brighter now, pure gold. Of something coming from the sky. The signal from space that night as they stood under the twin moons. A deep sound filled the air. A low, rhythmic pulse, like sonar from the stars. Ethan looked up and saw a faint red light moving across the clouds. The sisters followed his gaze. The light grew larger, mechanical, cold, and sharp. "It can't be," the white-haired one whispered. "What is it?" Ethan asked. "The hunters," said the silver-haired sister. "Machines from the old war. They destroyed our people before the core fell asleep. They've returned to finish what they started." Ethan clenched his fists. The golden light under his skin brightened. "Then we stopped them." The third sister shook her head. "They can't be stopped by weapons. Only the core can fight them, and that means you." He turned to her, confused. "Me? You are the core now. You control its energy. You can command it or destroy it." Ethan looked at his glowing hands. The thought terrified him. He could feel the core's power deep inside, waiting for his command. But it wasn't just power, and it was alive, full of emotions he didn't understand. "If I use it wrong," he said quietly, "I might destroy everything you just rebuilt." The third sister stepped closer and placed her forehead against his. "Then you must learn to trust it. The core knows your heart. It chose you because you feel, not because you fight." Her voice softened. "You can save us, Ethan, but you must believe that you can." The rising storm, a loud roar, cut through the night sky. The first hunter ship broke through the clouds, black and massive, like a floating mountain covered in red lights. Beams of energy shot toward the ground, burning through the surface. The city's defense towers tried to rise, but half were still asleep. The sisters ran for cover, but Ethan stayed still, watching the destruction. His golden light grew stronger, spreading across the ground like fire. "Ethan!" shouted the silver-haired sister. "You'll die." He looked back at them, smiling faintly. "Not today." Then he lifted his hand, and the ground answered. From deep below, waves of golden energy erupted upward, forming shields of light around the city. The hunters' energy beams hit the barrier and shattered into sparks. The entire sky glowed gold. The sisters watched in awe. Ethan stood at the center of it all, glowing like a star. His voice echoed through the air, unsoft but full of power. "You wanted the core," he said. "Now face it." Lightning of pure gold shot upward, tearing through the clouds and hitting the hunter ship. The explosion lit up the sky, scattering fire across the horizon. But even as victory flashed before them, Ethan felt the cost, the power inside him draining fast. His knees buckled and the light began to fade from his body. The third sister rushed forward, catching him before he fell. "Ethan, stop! You're burning your life force." He smiled weakly. "I told you. I'm not the same anymore." His eyes dimmed, but the sky above still glowed with his golden fire. The night sky burned gold and red. The first hunter ship fell in flames, crashing into the mountains beyond the alien city. The explosion shook the entire planet, lighting the horizon like a sunrise made of fire. But there was no time to celebrate. Dozens of new red dots appeared in the sky, more hunter ships, spreading like a swarm of dark stars. Their metallic voices echoed through the atmosphere. "Core detected. Target locked. Extermination protocol active." Ethan stood in the middle of the glowing city, breathing hard. The golden light under his skin flickered like a dying flame. His strength was fading fast. The third sister, Lyra, held him steady. You need to rest. The core inside you, it's overloading. Ethan shook his head. If I stop now, they'll destroy everything you rebuilt. The white-haired sister, Saris, was already activating the city's defense towers. The silver-haired one, Nira, moved through the holographic panels, raising force shields. But they all knew none of it would last long against the hunters. The planet's heartbeat, the core, pulsed deep beneath them, sending waves of golden light through the ground. It was alive, and it was afraid. Ethan closed his eyes. It's calling me again. Lyra looked up at him. What is it saying? It says, they found the source gate. The sisters froze. Nira's voice trembled. No. The gate leads straight to the core chamber. If they reach it, they'll consume everything, and even you. Ethan clenched his fists. Then we make sure they never reach it. The march of the hunters. The ground shook as the swarm of hunter ships descended. Massive mechanical creatures unfolded from their bellies. Machines shaped like beasts, their eyes glowing red. Their metallic feet crushed the earth, leaving black smoke and static in the air. The alien city's towers fired blue energy beams, cutting through the darkness. But for every hunter destroyed, 2 more appeared. Ethan watched from the sky bridge, his pulse syncing with the core. He could feel each impact like a heartbeat in his chest. Lyra stepped beside him. You can't fight them all. You'll die, he smiled faintly. Then I'll die protecting this world, and then you. Her eyes softened. You sound like Aiden. Ethan turned. My ancestor? She nodded. He said the same words before he vanished into the core. The golden awakenings, the hunters moved closer. Ethan reached toward the ground. Golden light burst from his fingertips, spreading in lines across the battlefield. The air vibrated with energy, and the machines paused, their sensors flickering. From the ground, shapes began to rise. Massive statues made of pure light, forming soldiers of gold. Their eyes glowed, their bodies humming with power. They looked like ancient guardians awakened from stone. Saris gasped. He's using the planet's memory, Nira whispered. He's bringing our ancestors back to fight. The golden soldiers marched forward, meeting the hunters head-on. Metal clashed against light. Explosions painted the sky. Ethan stood at the center, controlling them with his mind, each movement guided by his heartbeat. But every second of battle drained him. His knees weakened, his hands trembled, and the glow in his veins began to fade. Lyra ran to him. Ethan, stop! The core will take too much from you. He smiled through the pain. I can handle it. She gripped his face, her silver blue eyes shining with worry. You're not a god, Ethan, you're human. He met her gaze. Not anymore. Then he turned back toward the battlefield, raising both arms. The sky split open as a massive beam of golden light descended, tearing through the largest hunter ship. The explosion turned night into day, but when the light faded, Ethan collapsed. The heartbeat fades. The golden soldiers vanished like smoke. The hunters paused, scanning the battlefield for movement. Their leader, a massive ship in the shape of a spear, hovered above the ruins. A deep metallic voice echoed through the sky. Human energy detected. Core fusion unstable. Initiate disintegration protocol. A red beam began to charge above the ship, a weapon strong enough to destroy the entire city. Lyra knelt beside Ethan, shaking him. Ethan, wake up! His eyes fluttered open, dim and tired. It's too strong, Saris shouted from the control platform, the beams charging faster than expected. 30 seconds before impact, Lyra grabbed his hands. You can stop it. You're connected to everything. Please, you have to try. Ethan could barely move. His body felt heavy, his mind fading. But then through the noise and chaos he heard a whisper, a familiar voice inside his head. Ethan, the core never takes. It only gives. Let it guide you. It was Aiden Cole, his ancestor's voice. Calm, strong, alive within the core. Ethan took a deep breath and closed his eyes. The golden light returned, brighter than ever before. The veins in his body glowed like rivers of fire. He rose slowly, floating above the ground once more. The sisters stepped back as the air around him turned to gold. I understand now, he said softly. The core isn't just power. It's memory. It's love. It's every soul that ever tried to save this world. He raised his hand toward the sky. The golden light surged outward, wrapping around the red beam before it fired. The energy twisted and reversed direction, sending the hunter's own power back at them. A massive explosion filled the heavens. One by one, the hunter ships shattered into fragments of glowing dust. The sky fell quiet. The cost of power Ethan floated down slowly, the golden glow fading from his skin. Lyra ran to him, catching him before he fell. He smiled weakly. Looks like we won. Tears filled her eyes. But at what cost? His light was fading completely now. The core had taken what remained of his strength. Promise me, he whispered, you'll keep it alive. The core, it belongs to all of us now, not just your world. She nodded, crying softly. I promise. Ethan's eyes closed. The mark on his arm flickered one last time, then dimmed forever. Lyra pressed her forehead against his and whispered, Rest now, human. You gave us our future. Outside, the golden light spread across the planet one final time. Peaceful, soft, eternal. The war was over. But something deeper had begun. The war was over. The sky above the alien world had finally gone silent. No more red lights. No more thunder of machines. Only soft golden clouds drifted where the hunter fleet had burned away. But in the heart of the shining city, Ethan Cole lay still, his body faintly glowing, then fading. Like a candle's last flame. The three alien sisters surrounded him. The wind carried the hum of the revived core through the air. Slow, peaceful, alive. Lyra, the bonded sister, knelt beside him. She touched his face gently, whispering his name. Ethan, can you hear me? No answer. Only warmth under her palm, slowly fading. Her heart ached. For the first time in centuries, she felt something she didn't understand. A deep human grief. Saris, the eldest, placed a hand on Lyra's shoulder. He's gone, Lyra. His life force is part of the core now. But Lyra shook her head. No, I can still feel him. The link isn't broken, it's quiet. Nyra looked toward the glowing sky. Then maybe he's sleeping inside it. The sisters carried his body to the core chamber where everything had begun. The great sphere of light hovered above the center, pulsing like a giant heart. The golden marks on Ethan's body began to shimmer again as they brought him close. Lyra stepped forward. If the core took him, then it can give him back. Saris frowned. No one has ever returned from the merge. You'll destroy the balance if you try. But Lyra didn't listen. She placed both hands on the core's surface. Ethan Cole gave everything to save us. The core knows his heart. It won't let him vanish. The sphere pulsed softly and light spread around her hands. The chamber filled with wind and whispers, thousands of voices speaking at once. The core was responding. The whisper, within inside the core beyond time and space, Ethan floated in a sea of light. There was no pain, no fear, only endless warmth. He could see fragments of memories, his ship, the sisters, the stars, all drifting like pieces of a dream. Then, out of the silence, came a familiar voice. Ethan Cole, you kept your promise, he turned. Out of the golden mist stepped a man, older, strong, with the same eyes as his. Aiden Cole, Ethan whispered. The ancestor smiled. You finished what I started. You brought balance to both our kinds. Ethan looked around. Is this death? Aiden shook his head. No, this is connection. You are part of something greater now. The core's consciousness. You can return if you choose. But remember, once you do, you'll never be the same. Ethan hesitated. The sisters, Lyra, Saris, Nyra, they need me. Aiden nodded slowly. Then follow the link. It's still open. She's calling you. Ethan closed his eyes. He could feel it now, a heartbeat pulling him upward, strong and familiar. Lyra's voice. Her energy. Her tears. He reached for it. The light returns outside. The core flared suddenly. Its golden light grew brighter, filling every corner of the city. The ground trembled, the air shimmered. Lyra's eyes widened as the sphere split open, releasing a wave of light that pushed her back. She fell to her knees, shielding her face, then silence. When she opened her eyes again, someone stood before her, surrounded by golden mist, Ethan, but not the same Ethan. His body looked whole again, but his eyes glowed faintly like twin stars. The marks on his arms were permanent now, carved into his skin like living veins of light. He looked both human and something more, Lyra's voice shook. "Ethan, is it really you?" He smiled softly. "I told you. I'd come back." She ran forward and threw her arms around him. For a moment, there were no words, only the sound of their hearts, one human, one alien, beating together. Saris and Naira watched from behind, speechless. "It's impossible," Saris whispered. "No one can return from the core." Ethan turned toward them. Maybe no one wanted to before. The living core days passed. The planet healed faster than anyone imagined. Rivers glowed again. Towers rose from the dust. The people of the old world, the few who had survived in hiding, began to return, guided by the sisters. But now they looked to Ethan too. His presence carried power. When he walked, the air shimmered. Plants bent toward him, lights followed him. The core's energy moved with him. Lyra stayed close, always watching, both proud and worried. She knew that this gift came with a price. One night, as the twin moons rose, Ethan stood by the edge of the restored city, staring into the horizon. Lyra joined him. "You don't sleep anymore," she said quietly. He smiled. "I don't need to. The core keeps me awake," she hesitated. "You're changing, Ethan. You talk like it's alive inside you." He looked at his hand. Golden light flickered under his skin. "It is alive. And sometimes it shows me things." The hunters weren't the only ones who knew about the core. Lyra's eyes widened. "You mean there are others out there?" He nodded. "Something older. Something watching. The core fears it." The wind grew cold. The stars above flickered strangely. Lyra looked at him, frightened. What could make the core afraid? Ethan turned toward the dark sky. "I don't know, but it's coming." The core pulsed deep below them, glowing brighter, almost like it was warning them. The golden peace they had fought for began to tremble. The nights had become strange. Even after the great victory, the twin moons of the alien world no longer shone as bright. Sometimes they dimmed, like something far beyond them was swallowing the light. Ethan Cole stood alone on the high terrace of the rebuilt city. His eyes glowed faint gold, reflecting the pulse of the core deep beneath the ground. He could feel it, the planet's fear. The core's heartbeat had changed. It no longer hummed peacefully. It trembled, warning him of something vast and cold drifting closer from the stars. Lyra joined him, her silver blue eyes soft in the dim light. "It hasn't stopped, has it?" Ethan shook his head. "No. Every night the core shows me the same vision, a shadow coming through the void. A shape bigger than worlds." She stepped closer. "What is it?" He looked up at the sky. "Something that feeds on light. Something that once destroyed whole galaxies. The core calls it the Devourer." Lyra's face went pale. "That's a myth. An ancient fear told by our ancestors to warn us about misuse of power." Ethan turned to her. "It's not a myth anymore." The warning that night, the core began to glow brighter. A deep voice echoed through the city. Not words, but vibrations that made every living thing stop and listen. The sky darkened, and for a moment all the stars vanished. Then a new light appeared on the cold and white moving across the heavens. It wasn't a star. It was a vast shifting mass of darkness surrounded by fire. Saris and Naira ran to the tower where Ethan stood. "The sensors are reading impossible energy levels," Saris said. "It's not alive. But it's not dead either," Naira whispered. Ethan's voice was calm. "It's looking for the core." The sisters stared at him. "How do you know?" He touched his chest where the golden mark still pulsed. "Because I can feel it calling me." The arrival hours later, the first wave came. Not ships, not machines, but dark fragments of the shadow itself. They fell from the sky like burning comets, striking the land and turning everything they touched into dust. Ethan raised his hand, and the core's light spread from him, creating shields around the city. But each strike made him weaker. His golden veins dimmed slightly each time. Lyra ran to his side. "You can't keep this up." He smiled faintly. "If I stop, the core stops too." The sky split open again, and the shadow finally revealed itself. It wasn't a creature or a machine. It was a presence, a living storm of darkness stretching across the stars. Voices echoed within it, the echoes of ancient beings long consumed by its hunger. A deep, whispering sound filled every mind on the planet. "You carry the stolen light. It belongs to the void." Ethan staggered, holding his head. "It's talking." "To me." Lyra grabbed his arm. "Don't listen to it." "Give me the core, human," the voice thundered, and I will return what was taken from your kind. Ethan's eyes widened. It knows about Earth. The choice the sisters gathered around him. Sarah shouted over the roar of energy. If the Devourer gets the core, it will consume not only us, but every world connected to it. Ethan looked down at his glowing hands. The core inside him was shaking. It wanted to fight, but it also wanted to flee. Ethan, Lyra said, tears in her eyes. You're the only one who can stop it. He stared at her, realizing what that meant. If I do this, I won't come back this time. She shook her head, crying. There must be another way. He smiled gently. You once told me the core chose me because I could feel. Maybe that's why I have to be the one to end this. He placed a hand on her cheek. Take care of them. Take care of this world. Lyra gripped his hand tightly. Don't leave me. He leaned close and whispered. I'll never really leave. The core will always remember. Then he turned and walked toward the center of the glowing plaza. The final light. Ethan closed his eyes and opened himself completely to the core. Golden energy erupted from his body, shooting upward into the sky, piercing through the black storm above. The Devourer screamed, its voice shaking the heavens. The ground cracked open beneath Ethan's feet as pure energy poured through him. His human form began to fade, his body turning to living light. Lyra shouted his name, but the wind tore her voice away. Ethan looked up at the endless dark and said quietly, I am the light you cannot consume. The core answered him, its voice gentle and proud. Then shine, Ethan Cole. With one final burst, he raised his arms, releasing all his power. A golden wave expanded outward, engulfing the Devourer completely. The shadow fought back, twisting and roaring, but the light burned through it. Brighter, stronger, eternal. The entire sky turned to gold. The stars reappeared one by one, and then silence. The shadow was gone. The world was safe. The legacy. When the light finally faded, the sisters found themselves standing on a quiet plain under the twin suns. The city still stood glowing softly. The core pulsed peacefully beneath the ground again, but Ethan was gone. Lyra looked up at the sky. A single streak of golden light crossed the heavens, and like a falling star, she smiled through her tears. He kept his promise. Sarah's placed a hand on her shoulder. He's part of everything now. Nyra nodded. He became the core itself. From that day forward, the people of the planet rebuilt their world under a new name, Elysian, the world of the eternal light. And every night when the twin moons rose, a soft golden glow filled the sky, a reminder of the human who faked sleeping once, only to awaken a new dawn for two worlds. The end.